Hello. Good morning. Happy Friday, December 5th, 2025. You are tuned into the TMI Show, which is short for the Ted Manila Information Show. I am Manila Chan. Ted Rall will be joining us in just a moment. He's fresh off the heels of deprogram. So welcome to all you deprogrammers. I hope you stay tuned. There is the Ted. So we do this.
Bonjour.
We do this live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, and the share button. We come on right after deprogram. So Ted does his back-to-back-to-back stuff. Get it all out of the way before noon, right, Ted? That makes sense.
That's it.
Why not? Yeah, why not? We have our guest coming on at about the halfway mark, so about 10:30. Friend of the show, Bubba Horowitz, is going to join us to talk about holiday shopping, what that looks like for the markets. The Black Friday numbers are all in. They're solid-ish, Ted, if you want to count people taking out way more debt.
Well, it's the American way. You're not a patriot if you have the money.
So we'll talk about that and what that means looking forward into 2026. Bubba would know. He's I feel like, Ted, he's been trading for probably around as long as I've been alive, almost. I think Bubba knows a thing or two.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. So before we just have two topics before we bring in Bubba. Just want to point out, in case you guys haven't seen, the alleged J5 DNC pipe bomber was caught. We mentioned it yesterday. His name is Brian Cole Jr. of Woodbridge, or Dale City to be exact, Woodbridge, Virginia, which is about 30-ish miles southwest of downtown DC. And CNN, your boy, Ted, Jake Tapper, had a big flub. Did you see that?
Yeah, apparently he misraced the dude. But, these days in the age of transracialism.
That's true.
Anybody can be anything. So
that is true. Speaking of the original transracialism, have you seen what Rachel Dolezal looks like? I think she just had her 48th birthday or something.
No, I have not. What's she up to? What's Rachel up to?
You got to look her up, Ted.
She's the she's the white lady who was an NAACP official who claimed that she identified as transracial Black. For people who've forgotten.
Yes. And I think she's like mid to late 40s. I forget what birthday she said she was celebrating. So at the time that this drama broke out, she would have been just under 40 or thereabouts. But Ted, at 48, let's say, she's looking hot. She has an OnlyFans. She can't get employed anywhere. She has an OnlyFans.
What?
Yeah. And she's... Yeah, she looks great. Like, good for her. She looks amazing.
Actually, that would be a topic to talk about. Like, okay, I have to admit I've never looked at OnlyFans. It's not like I'm anti-porn or anything like that.
Right.
I've just never looked. And let me just say that, like, a list of, if you did look at, who would you be curious about? I mean, I would start with for me, my number one would be that lady who used to be on The Sopranos. Who has her own OnlyFans, who was...
What?
Yeah, she was...
an actress?
Yeah, she's an actress. She played the girlfriend of Christopher Moltisanti.
I don't know. I wasn't a close follower of the show.
Adriana. She played Adriana. And to my understanding, she has an OnlyFans. And I'm like, really? Well, yeah, and she... was quite...
You'd be curious to see what she looks like?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what she looks like.
Well, you should
I'm looking up
Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, Rachel's cute, man.
She looks cute.
She's super cute.
When she's being her actual white lady self and not pretending to be a Black lady, she actually looks good.
Honestly, I see how she passed. I really do.
No, I see that too. I can see that too. For sure. I saw it then, but before it was more contrived.
It's the hair.
Now...
It's the hair.
Now she looks great being what she actually looks like, right? And she
changed her name, by the way, so we really have to... She's now Nkechi Amare Diallo.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That new name. She looks great. She's almost 50. I feel bad for her that, as an educated professional woman, that she can't find a regular job, and she's doing OnlyFans. And I think I read that she was like a Hooters girl lady.
Well, she does have Hooters.
She does. She does. She has
Yeah.
some impressive Hooters. So good for Rachel, I guess. I don't know if she's living her best life, but if she is, God bless.
Totally, she's living her best life, and good for her.
Yeah, good for her. So, I thought it was a controversy what she did, but anyway, your boy Jake Tapper identified Brian Cole Jr. as a white man.
Now, was that just like an accident of reporting? It must have been.
It must be. I don't know. When you look at him, he wasn't like a Rachel Dolezal where you were like, oh, he could be white-ish. Like Sean King, is that his name? Yeah, Sean King, the activist, where you're like, he could be black, he could be white, he could be both. I don't know. But anyway,
all of this it does serve all of it as a reminder of just how incredibly stupid and race is as a construct.
So just like, okay, but that's Ted. If Brian Cole were a 6'2" male, is it a construct to say he's a 5'10" or 5'8" woman?
Look, obviously, I'm sure Jake. It's an innocent accident, right? I mean,
it's
come
a
on.
Flub,
you report
say.
stuff
Yeah.
I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes.
I'm going to say it's a flub.
Yeah.
I'm going to, I hope, but he's
100%. Come on, give me a break.
He's getting totally castigated for it. And I'm not, and he does deserve a lot of that castigation. So
wait, why does he deserve that?
Are you fucking kidding? Can we go back 5 years to COVID? Can we go back to Joe Biden as smart and sharp as ever? Can we go back to every lie that has come out of Jake Tapper's mouth? Oh, that. Yes. So he does deserve
By the way,
every
I have a question
punch
for
to
you,
the balls.
because I was bringing this up with Scott, who's sitting in for John earlier. How much would you have to be paid to be like an administration flack or a corporate flack where they give you a line of bullshit that is like not only a bunch of lies, but on top of that, they're so transparent that everyone's going to know you're lying the second you start talking. So it's just embarrassing. But you look and feel really foolish, and it's like go out there, like being like say like for example, and a PR flack for a company or being like White House press secretary, where you just like it's like it's not even credible.
Yeah, but those people.
Well, how much? But how
if
much
you're Kareem,
is there a sum? Like, would you take $1 million a year to go out and spew any random nonsense?
Look, if you're a Karine Jean-Pierre under Joe Biden, you know that
she's an perfect example.
We know what she is. She's meant to go out there to spin. We know that she's not under.
Well, how much?
We're not
under
the impression
to do that job.
Well, she was like a GS-15, I think, so making like $170 a year to go out there and spin this Joe Biden insanity. Jake Tapper, on the other hand, is out there doing it not pro bono, doing it to curry favor.
He's making millions.
He's doing it to curry favor by and for the government, but he's making tens of millions of dollars a year. And by the way, I need to shout out to Well Dressed Nerd for the donation. He said Rachel got canceled for identifying as black, but these dudes in dresses with beards, though, libs did that. Thanks, Ted.
It's my fault. I blame Clovis somehow.
That's a good point. Poor Rachel gets canceled for, representing herself as black, but dudes in dresses the other Rachel, Admiral Rachel Levine, right, becomes like Surgeon General or whatever she was. She was Dr. something with a male name Levine before in the Navy. So, so there's that. But anyway, Jake Tapper makes a lot of money.
All right.
And he with tens of millions of dollars do it for you.
You're ducking my question. Answer my question. How much would you need to go out and be told by someone to go out? I mean, look, I remember that
What's my
feeling.
sellout
I'll
number?
tell you, like my
I
so I had a
I
job
didn't have a
as a
sell. I walked
telemarketer.
out. I left CBS, Ted. I left
Okay, well
CBS
there
on
you
a
go. I had a
steady. I
tele.
walked out and went to RT because I probably have a multi-million-dollar contract now if I stayed with CBS. I was en route. Gail King knew who I was. Home base in New York City at Rockefeller knew who I was. They wanted packages from little old me in Yuma, Arizona. I was on the radar. And I just couldn't when they asked me to shut up about General Motors, and I just couldn't, and I walked away.
Well, and you know my MSNBC story when it's like, oh, come in and they wanted me to come and audition and do a weekend show test. I would have been on the air on a weekend to see how I did, and they were like everything, and it all was looking good until they said. So the thing is, make sure that Ted knows he can never criticize Democrats or the Democratic Party.
Right.
And I literally, for me, it wasn't even a sellout issue. I mean, of course, it's a sellout issue because Democratic Party's fucked up 6 ways till Sunday. But I mean, if you don't criticize the Democratic Party, you just don't know what you're fucking talking about. I mean, I would say the same thing about the Republican Party or the Green Party or anything. But I mean, to me, it's like, how do you do your job when there's only two major parties? If they said, never criticize the Socialist Workers Party, be like, all right, no problem. They're never in the news. But it's the Democratic Party. I mean,
there's two big parties.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? So that was my thing is I couldn't.
If they said never criticize the Des Moines Police Department, no problem.
Oh, all right, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.
For me, it was like GM is one of the big five, obviously. Right. There are other car manufacturers I can criticize and other businesses, big corporations I can criticize. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was the fact that you were trying to muzzle me, and I will not be muzzled. Like that's it. Well, I don't want to live under anyone's jacket.
That's the answer to my question. Manila, we have Bubba coming on in 14 minutes. We got 2 topics.
Yep.
Let's do them.
You asked the question. You opened the door and you're pissed that I walked through it.
I'm not shaming you. Like we're like a married couple.
Don't time shame me.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying that we got to get going. That's all. It's my fault.
Don't time shame me. You asked the question.
I'm not trying to time shame you. I take responsibility. I'm as bad as you are. Let's just all right.
Let's just you got to do. You're doing the first story. You're doing this one. Here we go.
I know. This is some breaking news. Netflix is closing in on one of the most dramatic media deals in decades. They're going to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. After months of bidding, maneuvering, and back-channel lobbying, Netflix is the winner, and now in exclusive negotiations to acquire the studios and streaming operations at roughly $27.75 a share. That puts the deal value at over $82 billion. If this goes through, Netflix will instantly absorb a legendary library of content and franchises, from HBO's prestige dramas to Warner Brothers' film catalog, like Casablanca is Warner Brothers, and major IP like DC Comics. They're not just buying the content, they're buying the power. Owning Warner Brothers means Netflix no longer has to rent or license any of its prime content. Instead, it becomes a vertically integrated entertainment titan, producer, distributor, streamer, franchise owner, and possibly controller of Clovis. It also smooths the path toward bundling. Netflix and HBO Max under one roof could deliver more value at a lower price and keep subscribers from churning. For years, Netflix positioned itself as a disruptor. Now it will become the establishment. They'll consolidate 2 giant catalogs. They'll accelerate global expansion through studio properties, create a direct competitor to Disney. But of course, obviously, antitrust concerns come in. Other bidders, including Paramount, Skydance, and Comcast, lost out, and they're already mad. Industry groups say that Netflix controlling production and distribution will distort the market, squeeze independent studios, and limit content diversity. Film producers and lobbyists are urging the Congress to intervene, warning of economic and cultural monopolization. Netflix is arguing the opposite, saying that prices will get lower because redundant platforms will go away. Because that always happens, Manila, after a giant merger, that like it benefits consumers because the prices get lower.
Right.
Which has said no one ever. Money. Has never once happened.
The big corporations cannot wait, like Netflix now, cannot wait to save
$82 billion, and they're passing the savings on to us.
Yes,
If this deal closes,
that always happens.
it's likely sometime mid-year next year after Warner spins off its cable channels, the ripple effects will
That's
be
the threat.
immediate. All right, so here's the
There,
I'm
like, what
obviously
happens to your buddy Jake? What happens to Jake?
I'm violently opposed to this idea. I mean, look at what happened in the airline industry. Corporate consolidation has led to higher prices and shittier service across the board, particularly shittier service, to the point where flying is actually dangerous. Because if the plane crashes, you can't evacuate the plane because all the aisles and the rows are so narrow that you can't get the fuck out. I mean, I can't even tell you how fucking miserable I am when I fly.
Is that when? Well, our next that's perfect for our next story. But is that when who was it? American United, when Pan Am, when all the other American domestic carriers kind of went away and got swallowed up by like U.S. Airways. Who bought U.S.?
I believe U.S. Air was purchased by United.
Okay.
I think
And
U.S.
is
Air
that about
bought.
when?
I think, as I recall, U.S. Air bought, and then someone bought Continental, right? I think U.S. Air bought Continental. Then the U.S. Air Continental was acquired by United.
Yes, and is that about when the airplanes started getting crammed with like 2 more extra rows and extra
Well, it started before that, but it got worse and worse. The process accelerated. Yeah.
Yeah, it got really ugly.
So the point is that, look, let's be serious here. Okay. So I remember my in-laws were in, they're Asian. So a lot of Asians love gambling, and they were no exception. They love gambling. And, my in-laws always said, oh, like I always win when I gamble. And I remember my ex-wife pointing to the skyline of Las Vegas. And she said, this was nothing but desert. Do you think that skyline would exist if the house didn't always win? The house always wins.
That's right.
And
that's right.
And let me just say, Netflix would not be paying nearly $100 billion in order to save you money. Okay. They're paying $82 billion to make them more money. Okay.
No, that's right.
They're eliminating competition. As it is, streaming costs are really high, Manila. I mean, it's like, if you get like, say, Disney and Disney Plus and Paramount Plus and
I have all of those like a la carte.
You can easily end up at $150, $200 a month.
You're back paying the cable prices. You're back to the It's just now everything's a la carte.
Cutting the cord doesn't even help. Like if you just are
didn't save money.
Yeah, even if you don't have cable. I mean, I've done that. I'm on Sling TV, and it's still like, so it's like basically, $200+ a month, and it sucks. And it's just going to be free because of this.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing that conversely though, it is true that antitrust law is inherently anti-capitalistic, right? Because capitalism has an inherent. If you ever played Monopoly, whoever you ever noticed in Monopoly, almost every time you play, whoever gets an early start always wins, and that's just
not always,
but usually,
I always let my dumber friends go first.
So that's kind of like that's kind of like the way. Well, you're supposed to roll the first time, and that's supposed to be done by a roll of a dice. But anyway,
I just let them go first because I knew I was going to win.
But the point is that monopoly. So it's funny because basically antitrust law is a recognition of the fact that capitalism is evil and unfair.
And I think it's a little bit of the consumer protection side. So I'm with you on this. I think it's a bad idea, especially for like the conceptualization of new ideas. It's not going to work when you have like only a handful of CEOs in charge of the whole of Hollywood. Because if we're complaining now about how shitty content is, coming out of Hollywood, it's not going to get any better when it's consolidated to one Netflix house.
No,
So, I'm going to keep that short and just say I don't think that's good for consumers. I don't think it's good for creatives.
Less competition isn't a lack of competition is never good for consumers. Duh.
That's right. And for the creatives, people like you and me, Ted, that create content.
Right. There's fewer places to pitch.
Yeah. So, and if you get blackballed by them, then what?
Yeah, then you're fucked 6 ways till Sunday. Yeah,
All right,
true. It's
let's
true.
go. It's we know what blackballing is like, Ted. All right,
Yes,
let's go to the
we
next
do.
subject. All right, this one is about airplanes we were talking about. So, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, MTV veteran Sean Duffy, has a message for America's air travelers. Put on some pants that don't have elastic
I
bands.
love this story.
In a series of remarks this week, Mr. Duffy praised the quote, golden age of travel, the 1950s and 60s era of cocktail lounges, upholstered seats, and passengers who looked like they were headed to a wedding, not a laundromat. His suggestion flyers should dress with respect. This is a quote. Flyers should dress with respect for
I wonder
themselves
if he flies
and for
coach.
others.
Does he fly coach?
And no, they have their private jets, remember?
Oh, that.
And
Right.
avoid, quote, sloppy and overly casual attire on commercial flights. Duffy has been touring airports for months, pushing a broader modernization agenda. But this comment, delivered with nostalgia and a grin, sent social media into a full throttle debate faster than a 737 at takeoff. Within hours, critics blasted Duffy for policing personal choices, calling the suggestion out of touch, elitist, and unrealistic in an era of cramped seats, delayed flights, and $8 airport pretzels. Frequent flyers posted photos of passengers sprawled across terminal carpets, asking if pearls and suit jackets were really the priority when half the country just wants an on time departure and a working lavatory. Others pointed out to basic reality. Travel today is not glamorous. Middle seats, TSA lines, lost luggage. The quote, golden age ended when airlines discovered revenue from fees. But Duffy's comment also hit a cultural nerve. A surprising chorus of travelers applauded the idea, saying flying has become a sweatpants free for all with bare
That's
feet
true.
with bare feet on bulkheads and pajama bottoms at the gate.
I'm a barefoot person.
Former flight attendants and etiquette authors chimed in, arguing that dressing decently creates a civilizing tone on board and encourages better behavior. Duffy, for his part,
probably
insists it's not a mandate, just a cultural nudge. Quote, I'm not issuing a dress code. I simply believe travel used to feel special, and we've lost that.
Manila,
We can recapture some of it.
Airline personnel have the right under FAA regulations to kick you off the plane for not being dressed right.
Really? I got to look that up.
It's true.
Okay. Now the bigger agenda
in fact,
here.
like, you know how people have like their, low hanging pants, like plumber's crack,
sagging pants.
They've been thrown off the plane. That happens. And then there's accusations of racism sometimes related to that.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. And I see our buddy Bubba. He just popped into the background, so we'll be bringing him on in just a moment. So we'll finish this, Ted. Behind the nostalgia is a policy push, though, so it's not just like Sean Duffy is not putting it only on us. Duffy is promoting a cleaner, upgraded terminals, redesigned seating areas, better customer service requirements, incentives for airlines to improve experience metrics.
By the way, this is from the same administration that just canceled the Biden administration's outgoing idea to match the Europeans on a passenger's Bill of Rights, so that when they cancel your flight, not due to an act of God like the weather, but just because they feel like it to save money, that they have to compensate you. And so this is the same. It's like, how about that? How about like, disincentivize the airlines from fucking you just because they can.
Duffy sees clothing as symbolic, and it's a mindset shift. He says,
well, he's right about
travel is a privilege. It should feel like one, he says.
Travel is not a privilege. It's a human right.
Whether Americans will trade hoodies for blazers is doubtful, but Duffy has succeeded in doing what few officials ever managed, more so than one Pete Buttigieg, getting the entire country to talk about transportation policy. In the age of airline fees and security lines, the golden age may be gone, but the argument over what to wear at 35,000 feet has now officially boarded. So I get what he's aiming for here, Ted, but
Me too. I mean, look,
it
you and
can't
I
be
both
put on
know
us, the consumer.
when you're dressed to the nines, like when I wear a nice suit, I definitely
It does change your behavior.
affects my mindset. There's no question.
Yeah,
I
of
mean, he's
course,
not
it
wrong
changes your
about that.
behavior. He's not wrong. That is
I
absolutely
mean, I
true.
do, and I have
It
seen people
influences.
get on the plane. Like I remember seeing, like during the 2016 election, some dude, two guys walked in on the plane together. One of them was wearing a Hillary like crossed out picture, and it said bros before hoes," and I'm like, there's kids here. And then the other, and his friend was wearing a T-shirt that said, "Hey, this dick isn't gonna suck itself." And I'm like, dude, there's kids here. What the fuck is wrong
Well,
with
see,
you?
that's okay.
So people behave
I've
really.
never I've never worn anything like that. Obviously, I try
So
not to,
obviously that's like
but
uncivilized, and no one. And honestly, they should be kicked off the plane.
no,
But
no,
I
I
mean,
agree. That's
particularly the
yeah,
second
you
one.
shouldn't wear that around
But
children.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, but okay, but it's gonna piss people off because flying's a miserable experience.
It
And
is miserable.
I got to tell
And
you,
that's why people
if
show up in
if
hoodies
I'm
and
going to wear my
sweatpants.
Prada suit on the plane, I don't want to. I will do that, but not if I have to be squeezed into a chair and a row that's
right.
too narrow. It's I mean,
That's
formal
right.
clothes are less comfortable. That people are dressing for comfort because their physical environment is so miserable that they're trying to, like, wear loose fitting clothes just so that they feel like they can breathe. So give us honestly, I keep saying, and I don't know why no one picks up on this, bigger chairs are not to feel more comfortable. Bigger chairs are a safety thing. You need bigger chairs and wider rows so that you can evacuate the plane if there's a problem.
And Ted, we have bigger Americans than we did in the 1950s
honestly, if there
and
was
60s.
a miracle on the Hudson now, everyone would drown because no one would have been able to get out of the back of the plane.
Well, that's true too. But like I said, as a safety measure, Americans are much larger today than they were in the 1960s.
All the more reasons why the chairs need to be bigger.
Right, which is why it's a two-way street here. If the transportation secretary wants Americans to clean up our act when we show up at the airport, then they should require the airlines to compensate in a way that matches what we're doing for them. It's a mutual respect thing.
It's a two-way street, right? Like if flying is going to be like a night, like a catch me if you can kind of vibe, then like let's go back to those days and have, like, we don't need sterling silverware, but like but honestly, like, probably
I would. It's much better than having microplastics in your mouth.
And by the way, you know what I would also like, and then we've got to bring Bubba on. I would rather that the government say that actually all the prices are going to go up a bit, and that the services are going to go up too. I mean, a flight that used to be $200 could be $400.
The prices don't need to go up. The CEO pay needs to come down.
Well, that's true too. That's always true. That's always true. You're singing my song there.
Yeah,
not to mention the corporate profits, and all these big airlines should be nationalized anyway, because it's a vital national security thing to have reliable transportation, and that shouldn't be a private industry.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about there. Okay, well, let's leave that there. Put a pause button on that, and let's talk about shopping. It's the holidays.
Much more.
All right, we're bringing our buddy right here, Bubba Horowitz, in to join us on this next conversation. If you guys don't know Todd Bubba Horowitz, he's a market maker, CEO, and founder of BubbaTrading.com, which I'm going to pop up on the screen in just a moment when I'm done talking, Bubba. But you've been listening to us talk. What do you think? The golden era of air travel, are we going to bring that back by forcing Americans to wear ball gowns and suits to the freaking airport?
We are never going back there, unfortunately, and they're never going to make the seats bigger for guys like me. It's going to be.
Oh, are you a big guy? Well, I guess with a name like Bubba, right?
It's only going to get worse. You fly some of these airlines, you can hardly sit in the seat. It's all about money. Let's face it. It's all about the bottom line, and they have less flights so they can fill more. It's not a pretty picture, nor are the people that are on the planes that come on and treat it like their living room, take off their shoes and put their feet on your chair. Not a pretty picture. We're not civilized anymore when it comes to flying as we were back in the day. when you wore a suit, and they had, flight attendants.
My mom wore white gloves to fly.
So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's a two-way street. America as a society, we've lost that whole, like Mad Men 1960s mid-century, that look.
When we ruled the world.
But the airplanes, like there's no Pan Am flights. That's not what it looks like anymore. Let's be honest. That's not.
It looks like an alley when
it's
you get
a bus
on there.
in the air.
So we're looking at BubbaTradingHere.com. So you guys can learn more. There's Bubba, I see here. I didn't know that you were doing this, that you're like, you coach people as well. It looks like you're coaching.
Yeah, I've done that since when the floor stopped, when I got off the trading floor, I needed something else to do. So I started teaching people how to trade. And in fact,
look at that.
I trade live with members every morning, futures market. So it gives me something to do during the day, right?
Oh, well, that's fun. So what we're talking about today, it's been a week since Black Friday. The numbers came back in, have trickled in all week. Online Black Friday sales hit a record $11.8 billion. That's up 9% from last year. Total retail spend was up 4% year over year. This is online plus in-store. However, in-store foot traffic fell about 3.5%. So obviously we're seeing the big boost coming out of digital. But, Bubba, it's the buy now, pay later, the layaway stuff that's coming in big. They're estimating now that's going to be $20 billion for the year. I don't even know how that can be.
Well, you've nailed it. I mean, you have to look. First of all, Black Friday, I think, started in July. Okay, we're getting much earlier on these sales, and I think higher sales don't necessarily mean better sales. Remember, we have some pretty dramatic inflation to the pricing that we're paying right now. Add into that, okay, are there really profits? This is the real story is going to come out when these companies report their earnings, because just because they sold a lot doesn't mean they sold it at profit.
Right.
And, because they want to move goods. They're stuck with goods. They need money. They have to keep their circulation flowing. Then you add in, credit card companies now offering transfer balances till 2027. Okay, think about that for a minute, because really what that is that's a trap for most consumers who don't have the money to begin with, to allow them to spend money they don't have to buy things they can't afford. And then, of course, what will happen when 2027 hits, because everybody says, well, I'll be able to pay it then. Well, that comes, and all of a sudden the interest rate goes back at 29% back to the 2 years ago when you bought the goods. Mm-hmm. So you're now paying about 4 times for the goods. So the only beneficiary out of this whole mess, in my opinion, is the banks and the credit card companies.
Yeah, that's the American way, isn't it?
So if that's the case, Bubba, are we, one of the signs of a potential deflationary spiral, which I'm concerned about, is the companies offloading excess surplus inventory, and also a poll came out recently that found that even Americans who earn over $200,000 a year are feeling economically stressed to the point where some of them are putting expenses like $60 here, $20 there on their credit cards and financing them and paying them over time. I mean, if people like at that level are broke, are we headed towards something scary?
Oh, I think we're definitely headed towards something scary. I mean, think about this. Okay, if you live in Washington, if you live in Manhattan, if you live in California, you live in Chicago, if you're not making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, you're living in poverty anyways.
True.
The cost of rent, the cost of living continues to rise, and you have a moronic Federal Reserve that is continuing to try to cut rates into a market that is at all-time highs. It doesn't make sense, because all that really does is force inflation even higher. We're losing jobs at record paces right now. I mean, when did you think that Amazon and UPS would be laying off 70,000 people a month before Christmas? Okay.
And speaking of that, what do you guys both make of the news that Amazon is looking to get rid of, no longer use the post office and use its own delivery system, create its own distribution network? I mean, Amazon's keeping the U.S. Postal Service afloat. We are in danger of not having a postal service.
Well, we really shouldn't have a postal service. I mean, the truth of the matter is that the post office should be at least well narrowed down. You know, where all of us live, if you live in a major city, you can drive 5 miles either way and find 4 or 5 post offices. Which, how many people actually mail letters anymore? Most people use email. Most people make their payments automatically. The post office has to be ended. And unfortunately, we as consumers continue to have to subsidize the postal worker. And I mean, nothing against postal workers. I'm not saying fire the ones that have been there, but they shouldn't be hiring any new. They should be closing the locations once they run out, because again, all it is an unnecessary cost for Americans that have to pay taxes. Because again, remember, government doesn't make money, they make debt. We get the fortune of paying that debt.
Yeah, that's right. It's become kind of obsolete, right? Like, I mean, Bubba pointed that out. It's just going in the way of like a travel agency.
You don't view it as vital infrastructure that, like, even if it operates at a loss, it's sort of like transportation. You just have to have it, because what if it's all privatized and the private industry goes under?
Whittle it down, like Bubba said. I don't.
Listen, I don't mind if you say we're going to keep a small structure of the post office. That's fine, because there's still a lot of people that will go to the post office. You know, certainly older people will go to the post office because that's what they know. They don't know email. They don't know automatic payments. But certainly, there doesn't need to be a post office every 2 or 3 miles. Okay. Yeah. We don't need all these people and all these vehicles, because there is very little delivery that takes place, because the most of the mail you get today is what? Junk. You don't get much good email anymore. You know, you get your checks get deposited automatically, most likely. Certainly if you're on Social Security like I am, I don't get a piece of mail. I get a deposit. Okay. The bills, I don't send checks. They take it right from my checking account. My credit card, I pay right from my checking account. So I don't need I can't remember the last time I used a stamp. Okay. So I think that you have to eliminate, you know, the unnecessary expenses. I mean, listen, look at the amount of debt that we continue to create in this country. You have to start cutting somewhere. And I think that's a very good place to cut. And I'm a big believer in private industry. Okay. I'm not a big believer in government programs. I'm not a big believer in the things that the government does, including the SNAP program. Okay. I think that there's far too much abuse to those programs, and far too much. Again, it goes back to you, me, and Manila all pay for these programs with our taxes. And aren't you tired of paying the amount of taxes that you have to pay just to live?
Yeah, but most of it's going to defense, right?
Yeah, a lot of it's going to defense. We can trim that too. That's a whole different conversation. I would like for us to stick with what consumer confidence looks like based on what you saw last week, Bubba. All the numbers have come in. When you look forward into 2026, I mean, look, Americans are still complaining we were just complaining right now about, you know, airfare, the cost of tickets, and the crap service we get from the airlines and whatever. But, you know, we're forced into, you know, getting whatever we get because it's a consolidation of the airline industry. But consumers were pissed off. Everyone's broke. But yet we're spending massive amounts of money this Christmas.
Well,
so what
give
gives?
Us credit. You know, give the, you know, listen, America, would you agree, is a by the month society? How much is it by the month? I can afford it. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not afraid, because they're going to extend that debt out 2 years and credit cards now. I mean, 2027, no payments until then. The consumer doesn't realize the con job that we've seen. Now, again, we saw this first start originating back in the early 2000s. But it was really prevalent right before the 2008 market meltdown. Okay. And I think this is going to lead to the same thing. I think it's going to lead to stagflation, which is Ted's point. Okay. I think we're in this position because there is no jobs, and the jobs that we're losing are not coming back. Okay. They're being replaced by AI. And unfortunately, your energy costs are going through the roof because of how much electricity that it takes to produce AI. Okay, our rates are ridiculous. Your electric rate is ridiculous.
This tech company should be paying those rates.
I agree. And again, when you have a government that is so lopsided and takes so much money out of the system, and again, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you sit on, because they all take the money. You have to start to cut somewhere. I mean, if you, me, or Manila lived on this system, we'd be either in bankruptcy court or jail. Okay. But they just keep spending our money because, again, they can just add it to the taxpayer, and they want these rate cuts, which are not good and are not healthy, because what they're really doing is they're encouraging banks not to loan. You have mortgage rates have not come down since the Fed has cut rates. The 10-year notes have gone higher.
Correct.
But yet, again, give the consumer the ability not to
but they're
pay.
talking about 50-year loans.
Well, now, do you think that somebody who's going to get a 50-year loan, would somebody have some fiduciary, some fiscal responsibility and say, okay, I'm going to buy the house that I could have afforded on 30, but I'm going to be able to spread the payments over 50? Or is that same person going to say, well, hell, I can now buy a house for another $100,000 because I can spread the payments over another 20.
Not to mention if you're a seller, you're like, oh, we can charge more because it's easier for people to borrow money. It's the same principle as why college tuition keeps going up because of the student loans.
Exactly. I mean, it's a tragedy that is the way that we live, paycheck to paycheck. And unfortunately, as you just said earlier, in major cities, $200,000 is not enough. Now, when did you ever think in your lifetime that a $200,000 you're living wouldn't be enough money to live?
I'd think you were living the dream.
Oh,
if you were making that much money back then. Yeah.
But the sales are going to, listen, as long as retailers, as long as credit card companies continue to facilitate and to give money, not away, but let them defer the payment, okay, because they know they're going to get paid in the long run a lot more than they're selling right now. So they can even afford to sell at lower prices to create more sales because they're going to get paid on the finance end. This goes back to what they used to call the old, the street merchants that used to go out and sell furniture on time. Okay. The furniture was worthless, but they got paid so much for production because, again, they call it street peddlers. That's what they were called. They continue to put it out. And again, cost me $10. I'm running it for $1 a month. In 12 months, I'm already paid for, so I'm getting clear profit. The same finance scam that they're running now, okay? Because they're going to let these people get so deep in debt that they never get out. And remember, you cannot go bankrupt on a credit card company. That was passed years ago.
Oh, I didn't realize that. A credit
Your
card
credit card debt is not dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Oh, what?
It used to be, but not anymore.
Oh, it used to be.
No,
It's
like student loan also is not dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Right.
Used to be.
Wow, I missed that one. I didn't know that. I thought that's why people filed for bankruptcy, was because they were so eyeballs deep in credit card debt.
Not anymore.
More than anything else.
That's your wonderful lobbyists in Washington, D.C. that got that through, of course. But again, listen, we know who really runs the country, and it's, it used to be big tobacco. Now it's a big oil, and it's going to be big AI, and that's the way it is. And until we, the voters, step up, again, we have a mess. And it doesn't matter who's the president. I mean, I like the president, but he can only do so much, in my opinion. And again, the overall system is broken. But that's a story for another day. You don't want to talk about that. You don't talk about retail sales, which are high.
Does retail do these? I mean, I guess in a way they're good numbers, but do these so-called good numbers reflect on the trading floor? Are stocks moving in the right direction? Is this leading to a better forecast in Q1 of 2026? Like, is it a brighter?
We're near all-time highs already. I mean, look, we're in a K-shaped economy. Okay. And you look at the K, the very upper end, which is always the smallest part. That's the only people that are doing well in this economy. Okay. Which is why volumes and market participation are way down. Yes, prices are going higher, but they're going higher because there's nobody in the way to stop them. There's no volume to stop them, and there's basically no place else to go other than the precious metals market. And the precious metals are screaming to you that there's too much debt in this country, that the inflation is too high, which is why gold is going through the roof, and which is why silver is going to the roof. I mean, because you keep creating debt. People that understand know that you have to have some kind of hard asset, because our fiat currency system that we operate under is a scam, because there's nothing backing the currency. So the central banks take turns creating more currency, which is why the debt is so high, which is why your dollar buys so much less. I mean, if you go back to 1985, the average income was $25,000 a year. The average house was $75,000 a year. Today, the average income is $70,000 a year. The average house is over $500,000.
Yeah.
So it's 3 times your income versus 7 times your income. So it's a hard mix that inflation continues to dig in, and it's killing the senior citizens because the Social Security doesn't cover anywhere near what your expenses are.
What's your outlook on all these coins, especially all these so-called shit coins that really, if we talk about things being fiat, what about all these coins? What do you tell your clients, the people that are learning from you on how to trade? about
Well, I think
coins.
cryptocurrency I think Bitcoin is good. I think Ethereum is good. I think, the top ones that have very high valuations in the billions and trillions, I think they're fine. Okay. I think they're going to be a real part of our society. I mean, we look at our market today, we have too many restrictions, too many controls, but I do believe you're going to see even the stock market will be trading 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometime in the very, very near future. Wouldn't surprise me within the next year or two. Okay. And the cryptocurrencies are free market. The cryptocurrencies are the currency of the libertarian.
Never understood the idea that you couldn't, if you have to wait, it's on the weekend. Oh, I can't sell my stock. It's very strange.
So, I mean, that's cryptocurrency is neutral. It has no intervention from a Federal Reserve. Okay. It trades freely. Again, I know the problems and what people think about it, and I understand it. I mean, I was one of those back in the day, but other than that, it is a real thing, and you can pay for products with it. Okay. And a lot of people have made a lot of money using it, but I think that's the coming way, especially the blockchain. And you ever do a wire transfer? It takes forever to do a wire transfer. You go to blockchain, it's done in 30 seconds.
Yeah. So you like crypto. You like all these coins.
I do. I don't like them all. I think there's a lot of criminal coins in there as well. Again, anytime there's money, there's some scam. But if the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, again, those would be ones that I'd be looking at. Those are ones that I own, okay, personally. So, but I think you have to be very careful. And again, this is not, there are many people who got rich, not me being one of them, but many people got rich in the crypto world, okay? But that's not your objective. Your objective is if you're looking for a small percentage of your portfolio, like you should own 5 to 10% of physical metals, you own a couple percent of cryptocurrency, in addition to everything else, and you build a portfolio. I wouldn't say anybody should take all of their money and do one thing.
Oh, of course not. I mean, there are people that have argued, though, that crypto is going to destabilize the dollar.
The dollar is pretty unstable to begin with. I mean, again, remember what your dollar buys you now. If you look at what your dollar buys you, it doesn't buy very much. I mean, you go to McDonald's, you can't go to McDonald's for under $10 or $11 now.
No.
So what is your dollar? What is your dollar buying you? I mean, I took my family out to dinner, 5 people, to a reasonably priced steakhouse last Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. It was $900.
What?
$900. I mean, a steak is $80.
How many people?
No matter where you go.
5.
How many people were there? 5. Yeah, I could see that.
And we're not big drinkers.
Nuts.
So $900. And I had to get the tip, right?
Yeah.
Holy moly. And you're in Vegas, and the food is, there's a lot of options.
And this was a locals hotel. This was not a strip hotel. This was a local property. So again, what is the real story is going to come, and the real answer is going to come when all these companies start reporting their profits. Did they actually make money with all these sales, or are they banking on the fact that they're going to collect on the finance charges down the road? It's the same as in the car business. We're back now, 0% financing. And for those of you thinking about buying a car because it's 0%, it's really not 0%. It's really about 7%, but that's a story for another day. There is an interest rate hidden in there, but 7 years to pay for it. Okay. Do you remember when I was a kid, you couldn't go farther than 3 years to pay for a car. Now they're giving you 7, and they're telling you it's 0%, which it's not. But either way, they're allowing people that don't have money to extend their debt. And look at our credit scores now. Nobody cares. Remember how important it was to build a good credit card so you get a good loan? Well, now they're giving you to skirt the credit score issue and build your credit card artificially. So, now it's not. I think we're in for a big problem next year. I think that this market's about ready to melt down. Again, it'll come back, but I would expect in the next year potentially a 40 to 60% haircut.
Wow, 40 to 60% haircut?
Yep. Listen, I traded on the floor through 87. I traded on the floor through 01, and I traded on the floor through 08. They were all 40 to 60%. And I don't think this will be any different.
Viewer question for you from Adrian. Adrian asks, how concerned are you about the AAA rated CDOs being passed around banks? Isn't this like 2007 when
100%
Jimmy
right,
Kane said you've got to keep dancing until the music stops, and then it just stopped?
Adrian, you nailed it. This is very similar. When you collateralized debt obligations and you're writing derivatives on more collateralized debt, it's the example that they use in the movie The Big Short. You continue to build up, and suddenly It's not worth anything. You know, people are buying and selling things that have to move so far to be profitable, and the ones that are selling them, if it does get that move, it wipes out the entire system. This is what goes on, and they're creating derivatives on top of derivatives on top of derivatives, which never works out well at the end. It works out good. It's like the old pyramids, right? We used to all get called in to go buy in the pyramid. It's like the pyramid scheme. Okay, continue to sell, and nothing's going to go wrong because they say they're AAA, but we all learned a very valuable lesson in 08 that AAA is not necessarily AAA.
And last word, Bubba, what are your predictions for 2026? Because I'm not sure that we'll see you until after the new year. What are you predicting?
I think that we're going to have a mess. I already think we're in a recession, but I think it's going to get worse. I think you're going to lose a lot of jobs. I think the markets will, the markets have been up double digits 3 years in a row. They've only gone up 4 years in a row, double digits twice before, excuse me. I think the market's due for a pretty good sizable sell-off, and I wouldn't surprise to see if we're down 10 to 12% in the first quarter next year. We'll see how it plays out. Again, a lot depends on what's going on. But I'm not real optimistic about the stock market for next year. I think you've got a lot of these AI companies that really control the index. There's like 6 companies that control the entire S&P 500. If you look at a chart, the way it looks now, it's like this. But if you made everything equal weighted, it's more like this. So again, you have 5 or 6 companies that control everything. And of course, like NVIDIA, supposedly, they're buying a lot of companies to supply their own selves. So now their numbers may be artificial. Well, it'll all play out eventually. But the bottom line is they got to make money. And if they don't make money, then there's going to be a problem. And I think there's going to be a problem.
Yeah, all the tech companies, that's what's scary. Like you pointed out, there's a handful of tech companies that control right now the entire market, no matter where you're trading. So I don't know. We'll check back again in the first quarter of 2026. Till then, happy holidays, Bubba. Thank you so much for your expertise. You guys can learn more at bubbatrading.com if you want to get coached by Bubba. And I think, Bubba, you offer like personal coaching.
Yeah, I do. And I do live calls every week. So I do webinars teaching as well. And you guys have a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. I appreciate being out here. It's always
Thanks
great
for joining us, Bubba. Good to see you.
Always fun. Thank you, Bubba.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. He's always fun to talk to. A lot of experience, obviously. And I love that he New York clip, right? Just go, 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 rapid fire. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of information drinking from a fire hose. But I
like it too.
But it's good. But I like it. Today, Ted, I didn't point out at the top of the show. It's our first snow day. Are you guys snowing? Oh, you've been snowing.
No, the snow has already occurred. Now it's really, really cold. So it is currently 26 degrees in New York City. And bear in mind, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. So it's cold, but it's going to get warmer.
What is our temperature? This is our first snow day. Usually schools and everything freak out. Schools started 2 hours late for us today. It's 30, but it says feels like 25. The snow has been ongoing since 6:30 this morning. Robbie says it's 27 in Montana.
Oh my God. Crazy.
Wow. Okay. So it's cold here too. We're at 30. So this is the first snow of the season. And I've read, I think I saw, is it the Farmer's Almanac or whatever? That it's supposed to be for the Mid-Atlantic. It's supposed to be like one of the coldest winters in, I don't know, a couple decades.
Yeah. So, by the way, enjoy your Farmer's Almanac because this is it. It's closing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is it really?
This is the last year ever.
No kidding. This is their last prediction?
Yeah. It's
why?
Hundreds of years old, right?
Yeah, I thought it was like a 200 something.
They're not even doing an online thing. Oh, they're just like, we're done.
Farmer's Almanac, founded in 1818, ending publication after its 2026 edition due to financial challenges. Wow.
I'm surprised that they weren't able to make it happen digitally because, the thing is, it's actually their record of predictions for long-term predictions. Like if you want to know, what's the next winter going to be like? They're eerily spot on.
Okay, here's my guess. A Kushner is going to buy it
for like $14.
Like I'm not even kidding. Not Jared, the other Kushner that's married to a supermodel. I forget his name. The other Kushner brother. He's buying up like media assets, like that are troubled media assets. I forgot what magazine he bought. Not Time.
Is there any other
Newsweek.
Time?
Newsweek. I know Newsweek, or I don't know. But a Kushner, a young Kushner bought that one. I think it's Jared's younger brother, the one that's married to a supermodel.
By the way, I do think that, like, seriously, Time or Newsweek, I would love to be part of. My vision is, like, basically, my theory was always that print media now should be about analysis, because the internet, you can't keep up. Like, it's stupid. Like, let's say you subscribe to the Washington Post, Manila, and then so you get all, so that includes the internet version, right? So you see all the breaking news all day, but then the print edition lands at your door the next day. Most of that content is stuff that you read the day before. So why the fuck are you paying for the paper edition of the same thing you already read, word for word, the day before?
I don't get the actual paper thing. I just do digital.
People who get the actual paper, and that's, by the way, where the real money is for media organizations, is still in dead trees. So that's retarded. What the print newspaper should tell you, the internet tells you what happened. Print newspaper the next day, or let's say a news magazine a week later, should tell you what it means and why you should care.
That would probably make more sense.
And so, like, Time or Newsweek could be revived as like long form analysis, like The Economist, like The New Yorker, like New York Magazine, Intelligencer. That's the secret here. I mean, people want and need analysis. And by the way, print is a better format for that. I mean, do you really want to sit on your phone and read 12,000 words about the economy?
No.
But if you have it, but pre-printed out in a magazine, that makes sense. Take that to the toilet with you, right? Take that to the bath. So
that's a good point. Because I don't think a lot of those these legacy publications have figured out how to balance digital with their original business model.
They don't know what the fuck.
I mean, look at the LA Times. Which I suspect, again, look out for the younger Kushner. Younger Kushner. The younger Kushner is buying up all.
Dr. Pat's trying to do an IPO of the LA Times.
I know. Ted,
by the way, so if you have money lying around that you really just don't like, there you go.
Ted, but look, if we buy enough shares,
you'll never see it again.
Ted, if we buy enough shares, because we'll be the only people buying, we could become majority stakeholders, and then we can like corporate takeover them.
Well, just so you know, it's funny because like when I was discussing settlement with the LA Times, there was a world in which I was going to become a possible controlling shareholder of the LA Times because of the numbers we were talking about, and like I was literally concerned about it, like. I really don't want to own the LA Times. It's like such a bad thing. I mean, you know, it's got literally negative brand worth.
It's just, well, look, you're scorned by them. But if you took them over, imagine that.
My vision would have been to turn them into the national publication of the entertainment industry. So combination,
because you're in Hollywood,
Variety, Hollywood Reporter. Basically, the Washington Post is the national newspaper of politics. New York Times is
that makes sense.
Is the national newspaper. The Wall Street Journal is the national newspaper of the economy, and the LA Times should be the national newspaper.
Should be all things
gaming, Hollywood,
all things music. Entertainment. Mm-hmm. That would make sense because you're in the Capitol. Robbie is not paying attention to the chat, our internal chat. Robbie, do we have any ads we have to get to before we say goodbye? Okay, no. The answer is no. Okay. No ads today on a fun Friday. All right, we're calling it wraps. And Ted and I are going to figure out.
Time kicking off.
Ted, we got to figure out how we can Gordon Gekko the shit out of the LA Times then. Oh, Ted's demiked. He unplugged, so we can't hear you anymore. We can't hear Ted. Ted unmiked himself somehow.
There we go.
There you are. There you are. Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally. Yeah. No. That would be funny. I mean, it would be funny to walk in there. Man, some people would have good cause to be afraid of me too.
Well, I would be down. We should, Ted, along with Robbie Aid, you should pitch the whole when LA Times IPOs, we just
LA
fucking
Times.
bum rush it.
Plus, the first move would be to move the paper back out of El Segundo.
Yeah. We should bum rush the LA Times and do like a GameStop thing.
Oh
on the
yeah,
LA
we
Times.
could do that. Yeah.
Imagine they did
Manila,
it for
would
GameStop.
you ever want to co-run the LA Times?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, be fun.
Fuck yeah. I'd move back to LA once it becomes successful. Move back to LA and then work on some local stuff there. We could do that together, Ted.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. And yeah, stay warm if you're on the East Coast because it be cold.
It'd be cold for sure.
Happy weekend, all.
Bye.
Adios, amigos.
Happy weekend. Bye, Manila.
Bye, Ted.